Welcome back to Angry Guy Hates Everything. And what we're going to talk about is what our two candidates, Trump and Harris, what they must do to win the debate tonight. But I want to go ahead and start with one thing real quick. And I want to talk about the rules for the debate. Now, these rules were set by the Democrats when Joe Biden was still the man before he was ousted, before they pulled a coup. And let's be honest, that's exactly what it was. He did not step down willingly. It was a coup. So they decided on the rules. Donald Trump wanted to change the rules. He did not want sitting down, which is what they wanted, and he did not want turned off mics, which is what they wanted. So after a bunch of back and forth, Donald Trump's like, you know what? Fine, I'll debate. Let's do it. Your rules, your party, even on CNN, which is enemy territory for Donald Trump, let's do it. So they agree to debate, and everybody knows the outcome. And let's just make something clear right now. One big thing Kamala Harris has against her is Donald Trump ends careers on the debate stage. He's a professional at this. He is very good. He has knocked so many people back to the minor leagues on that debate stage, it's hard to keep count. But now that Joe Biden is no longer in the picture, Kamala Harris now, and you got to remember, this is the thing that just absolutely fascinates me about this. 2 months ago, every Democrat in the world hated Kamala Harris. MSNBC said she was the worst vice president in history and makes very poor decisions. CNN said Kamala Harris is dragging down the Democrat Party and will cause Joe Biden to lose the election. Then all of a sudden, she's the VP, she's the presidential pick. That's astounding to me. That's absolutely astounding how everybody hated her 2 months ago. And now all of a sudden they love her because she's building a whole campaign on joy and people. Because we all know joy and people put food on the table. Let's be honest. Regardless of that, Kamala Harris steps up and now all of a sudden she wants to change the rules. What she wanted was open mics. She wanted to bring notes. More on that in a second. And she wanted to be able to sit down again. And Donald Trump said, no. You all set the rules. I tried to change the rules. You all told me no. So guess what? No, you cannot change the rules. These are the rules you all set. I agreed to them. We're not changing them. And what they were wanting was to change the rules in hopes that Donald Trump would back out of this debate. Because I'm going to tell you right now, somewhere in a hotel, Kamala Harris is sitting scared to death. Because, man, she is stepping up to the major leagues tonight. This is her introduction to the major leagues, because let's be honest, Kamala Harris has done nothing but party on the taxpayers' dime for the last 4 years. She's never had a test. She's never had to step onto the field and swing the bat. She has to tonight. So somewhere, she's sitting somewhere horrified right now. So more on the, she wanted to bring notes. Now that in itself causes me to question the legitimacy of tonight's debate. Have you ever tried to bring notes? If you were going to take a test and you had no idea what the questions were, what good would your notes do you? If they ask you some random question and you've got 50 pages of notes, oh, hang on a second. They're in my notes somewhere. Hang on a second. I know I can find this. It's impossible. Absolutely impossible. When I was in college, if they said, hey, we're going to give you a test, you can use notes, but you have no idea what the questions are, that's impossible. I would have to bring every note I've ever taken to try to answer these. And this 60-question test would take me 5, 6, 7 hours just to dig through my notes to find the answers. Unless I already had the questions. Why else would you bring notes to an open forum debate if you didn't have the questions? So I'm a little skeptical about that right out of the gate. Regardless, she wanted the mics turned on because she was hoping to God she could catch Donald Trump saying something so she could use her ever infamous, excuse me, I'm talking, and that would immediately give idiot liberals like Morning Joe firepower. See, Donald Trump hates women. See how he talks to women. And so Donald Trump, being smart, said, you know what? Not going to happen. Leaving the mics off. These are your rules. play by your rules. And so now Kamala had to scramble because they thought for sure they were going to get the everything changed, and it didn't happen. So now that that's out of the way, what Donald Trump must do to win the debate, I wanted to clarify that so everybody understood exactly what was going on here. So everybody just doesn't think that this is just, two people that are finally going to come together to debate. There's a lot of backstory to this debate that's actually going on. Donald Trump, first and foremost, needs to stay on point. That is critical to him winning this debate. If he is asked a question, he needs to stay specific to the question. Do not trail off. Donald Trump is infamous for trailing off, and I understand that. I get that. You start talking about something, then all these other points and ideas start popping in your head, and it's very easy to sidestep and start talking about other things, even though in your mind, it's all going to come back together. But all it's really doing is confusing the audience because it's taking you so long to get the ideas back together. Stay on point, stay on target. Next, he must not fall into a Kamala trap. They've already admitted they've spent this whole time trying to figure out ways to needle Donald Trump to try to get him off his game. Now you have to remember, Donald Trump is a professional at this. He is an expert at debating. He has more debates than any other president in history under his belt. He has got a world of experience. He needs to use that experience and stay focused and talk about the subject at hand, and that is it. But what he must also do is he must make Kamala defend her record for the last 4 years. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are. If you say that your life is better right now than it was under Trump, you are lying. Even my liberal friends admit their life was better under Trump. And amazingly, they're still voting for Kamala. They're literally voting for a worse life. That is amazing to me. I don't care that I'm a conservative. If I had some idiot, Mitt Romney, running for president, and let's say for the sake of argument, Tulsi Gabbard was the Democrat nominee, I would vote for Tulsi Gabbard, the Democrat, before I would vote for Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney is a clown. He's a rhino. There's nothing conservative about him. I honestly think Tulsi Gabbard is more conservative than Mitt Romney. So these liberals that will admit they had a better life under Trump will turn around and vote for Kamala. That is amazing to me. But Donald Trump needs to hammer home. Did you have a better life under me or a better life under her? And the answer is obvious. You had a better life under Donald Trump. And I'm going to explain real quick what I'm talking about. This is liberal logic. If a candy bar under Donald Trump cost $1, and then when Joe Biden and Kamala Harris gets into office, it costs $4. They bring the price down to $2, then they celebrate the win. Look what we've done. We've lowered the price. We've cut the price in half, never taking into account that it's still 100% more than the last guy. And all the liberals jump on the bandwagon. Oh my gosh, she's brought prices down. It's fantastic. She's done an amazing job. But you're still paying 100% more than you did on the last guy. And that is what has always astounded me about liberals. And those are the kind of points Donald Trump needs to hammer home. He needs to show them their, well, I'm not going to say stupidity because they have to understand. Nobody can be that stupid. But he needs to show them her hypocrisy and their own hypocrisy. Prices were here when I was president, that you come in, they go to here, you get them to here, and you're claiming victory when they should still be right here. That's a victory. Or actually, this would be a victory. This would just be getting back to zero. That's all it is. So he needs to hammer those types of points home. Don't call her any names. Don't call her Indian. Don't call her anything like that. Who gives a shit what her heritage is? Even though when you trace her ancestry back, they were slave owners. That I find is hilarious. That's amazing to me. But regardless of that, that was a side note. Really had nothing to do with anything. Regardless of that, he's got to stay on point. Make her explain her record. And then when she starts the whole flip-flopping, which she will flip-flop tonight on that debate stage like crazy, Because you got to remember, they have on tape, they have documents. They've been playing it all over the news of Kamala Harris saying that they're going to end fracking, of Kamala Harris saying that she wants to get rid of ICE, of Kamala Harris literally saying that she wants to use taxpayer money to fund transitioning surgeries for illegals. Makes no sense to me. He has to hammer those points home. At the end of the day, he's got to make sure people understand it's only about the economy and the border. That's it. There's nothing else. The economy was here, and Joe Biden, even though everything on paper says, well, they're doing a great job. The stock market is banging. The stock market is doing the best it's ever done. What is it, 50, 80 stocks that literally control the entirety of the stock market? That 70% of the people in the United States are not invested in those 50 to 80 stocks? They're just simply not. So they're not making fortunes off of these stocks because those are for the billionaires. They're the ones who can go in and buy 1 million shares of Apple at $300 a share. Your middle-class family can't do that. And that's what he needs to say. When they start talking about how great the stock market is, okay, how many middle-class people are invested heavily in Apple? Probably none. Maybe 5%, but they're not invested heavily because they simply can't afford it. Because if they bought Apple stock when Apple was $2 a share 30 years ago, well, then they're no longer middle class now. Now they're fairly damn wealthy. So he's got to hammer those points home. The middle class is suffering. Stay on point. The cost of everything is exorbitant right now. Do not fall into the Kamala Harris trap so they can use, you're a chauvinist, you're a male pig, so they cannot use that against you because they're going to be looking for that in every chance they get. And you have to make her defend her last 4 years in the presidency. Because all these things she's saying now, one of two things, and this is the point I think that will seal the deal for Donald Trump. Either she's lying because either she believes it, that she really is against fracking and wants a closed border, using Donald Trump's walls in her commercials. Give me a break. And if she's like, well, no, I believe in all this. These are things we need to be doing. These are things that I will do in my administration. Okay, so why didn't you do them? You've been in office for 4 years. You say you're going to start this on day one. Day one was 4 years ago. So why aren't you doing it now? So are you lying? And that's where he needs to stay. Because honestly, I don't think she's flip-flopping. I think she's saying what she needs to get votes. And that's the other point he needs to hammer home. So either you believe these things and you've done nothing about it for 4 years but let the American people suffer, or you don't believe these things and you're simply pandering to get votes. If he can hammer one of those two things, if he can hammer that home to show the American people that she's a fraud, because either one is a loser for her. There's no winning on either one of those. Either she's been lying for 4 years and she's going to go back to the way she is, or if she really believes these things, why hasn't she been doing them? She could do it right now. Why wait till day one, which realistically, day one was 4 years ago. Now, on to Cammie. Now, the things Kamala Harris must do to win the debate tonight. If she can get a rise out of Donald Trump and get him to start talking like Donald Trump does, I am a Trump supporter because I'm a conservative. It has nothing to do with Donald Trump. I'm a conservative. So Kamala Harris is not a conservative. So I'm going to support the conservative. If she can get him off topic and get him to start taking all these little side roads I was talking about, that's not going to bode well for Donald Trump because they already think he can't stay on topic and that his points are just all over the place. So if she can get him to get off a topic, that will help her out tremendously because Donald Trump can ramble on sometimes. Let's be honest. Like I said, I'm voting for Trump. The guy can ramble on. Everybody knows this. We've all seen it 1,000 times. Something else she must do. Now, there's a lot of things she must do, but I'm going to kind of just hit some of these points. She must come in there absolutely calm and collected. If I was her, I would take a Valium before I stepped on that stage because I can tell you right now, she's never been on this stage. She's in the big leagues now. And I remember in my band, The very first show that I played, I was a nervous freaking wreck. Even though I knew the music, I knew it inside, outside, upside down. I was absolutely horrified when I stepped on that stage. She needs to take a Valium, have a drink, maybe have 3. Well, Kamala Harris says she probably needs 5, because let's be honest, she's a drinker. She probably needs 5. But she needs to be very calm, cool, and collected. Her entry onto that stage is going to tell us everything we need to know, because we already know Donald Trump's going to come in confident. This is what he does. He's a career ender on the debate stage. Kamala had better come in there, buddy, and she better be silk, just gliding through there, and she better be on point when she does it. She has to try to get under Donald Trump's skin to get him off topic. Now, that's why she wanted the mics on, because he would interrupt her. If the mics turned off, I think he's going to step back from the podium and not really do anything and just kind of let it go and see what happens. But if she can get under his skin, because they've already said she wants to needle him, then she might be able to string something enough together, we'll go with that, to get him off topic and to get him rambling and to say something he shouldn't say. Like, what is your heritage? We don't even know what the hell you are. That would be a very bad idea for Donald Trump tonight. The third thing, she must stay on point. Kamala Harris is the absolute worst in the world when it comes to speaking off the teleprompter. She simply cannot do it. Now, this isn't because I think Kamala Harris is literally the worst presidential pick of my lifetime, because she is. But I'm not saying this because of that. We've seen what happens when she comes off of script. It is a disaster, hence the name word salad Kamala. She has no idea what she's saying, and things just pour out of her mouth like vomit. She just starts vomiting things up. The significance of the passage of time. The passage of time is very significant because time is significant, and time is a passage, or whatever the hell she said. Or the yellow school buses, or Venn diagrams. She's got to stay on topic. She cannot vary and step off of her points at all. Because as soon as one word comes off topic, I honestly don't think Kamala Harris has the brain power to pull it back on. She's off the rails, and it's over right there. That is instantly defeat for Kamala Harris if she does that. Something else she must do is she's going to have to try to separate herself from Joe Biden the best she can. Now, all these people who think, well, Joe Biden's economy is the greatest in the world, then why did Joe Biden set the lowest approval rating of any president ever and then break his own record 2 more times? If the economy's doing great and everybody's doing fantastic, I would think your approval rating would be pretty damn high. Instead, his was the worst ever. Nobody's ever polled lower than Joe Biden, ever. So somehow she's got to figure out a way to separate herself from Joe Biden's failed policies, because they have failed. She was the border czar. I don't care what all the liberal networks say. She was the border czar. We have Joe Biden on tape saying numerous times, Kamala Harris is in charge of the border. That has been an absolute failure. But what she's going to do, she's going to come back and say, well, look, right now, we have the lowest border crossings that we've ever had. And she's going to try to drive that point home. And Trump needs to attack on that immediately. The border crossings aren't down. They've just reworked the policy that now the illegals are actually coming through a port of entry, undocumented, and being let go into the country. This is a fact. This is proven. They're no longer gotaways because they're coming through ports of entry. But we have just as many people coming. They're just not being reported, because the ones that are reported are the ones that are not coming through the ports of entry. They're the ones that are being, there's 4,000 people here crossing the border across this freaking river through a field. And all these are people, okay, these are the gotaways. These are the people that, that are increasing our numbers. But now they're just sending them through the ports of entry, and they're not documenting anything. How do you think all these terrorists and drug dealers are getting into the country right now? They're literally coming through the ports of entry, undocumented, and they're just letting them pass on through. They're being released into the country. So the number's not really down, but she has got to try to prove that that number's down without Donald Trump stating the fact that I just stated. Also, she's going to have to defend how she is flip-flopped on all these issues. He's going to tell her, we have on video of you wanting to defund ICE. Because now all of a sudden, she doesn't want to defund ICE. We have on video of you voting to stop funding on the border wall. Now all of a sudden, she wants the border wall, period. Hell, she's using the border wall in her commercials, period. And that's all he needs to do to kind of dispute whatever she's going to do. But somehow she has to make it look like she never flip-flopped. This is what she believed. Now, how she does that with her record, I have no idea. I have no idea how she's going to be able to dispel any of this. And as of right now, this debate is Donald Trump's to lose. Kamala Harris has so many things against her. She would have been better off staying with her very left, very liberal agenda and continue to pander to her base. Somehow she's got to convince everybody that she's now a moderate. Because let's be honest, people want a moderate. If Donald Trump had chosen Tulsi Gabbard as his VP, we wouldn't even be here. The race would be over. It would absolutely be over. Because Tulsi Gabbard is a moderate. She's a very moderate. J.D. Vance is not a moderate. Kamala Harris is way to the left. Tim Walz is further to the left than Kamala. So somehow she's trying to make all these excuses and flip-flop that now she's come back to the middle. She's trying to pull a Bill Clinton on us. But I don't see how she can defend that. But if somehow she can convince enough people that she had nothing to do with these Joe Biden policies and that she's truly a moderate for the American people, that will bode very, very well for her in the debate tonight. But she must keep her cool. She must stay on point at all times. Because if she varies just a little bit, the debate is over.